The two local kinds of research on employee rights. Reported by Beverly Jean Evangelista, MPA student, Human Resources Management and Labor Laws. The Philippines Workers' Protection in a New Employment Relationship. By Bakham Makaraya.
Research gap. The reason why this study is conducted is that there is a lack of worker protection due to new employment relations in the Philippines. The role of globalization greatly affects the number of workers. According to Makaraya, globalization application in the Philippines forced the shift in economic development strategy from import substitution to one that is export-led. Free trade has opened up the Philippine domestic market to foreign goods. It introduced more players in the domestic market. As a consequence, it heightened competition among industries for scarce demand in the domestic market. Stiff competition has forced prices of goods in the domestic market to fall. At the initial implementation of free trade in the middle part of the decade 1980s, companies who were unable to cope with the heightened competition closed down. This resulted in a rapid increase in the number of unemployed workers in the country. Those who stayed were forced to implement adjustment measures intended to make them more competitive. In the Philippines, this means A. Utilization of more efficient technology and B. The use of a flexible labor force. Both have profound negative consequences in the areas of employment and labor relations. Employment relations. The utilization of more efficient technology means that industries have to downsize or right-size their operations. This in turn entails the dismissal of a substantial number of regular employees on grounds of redundancy. The use of a more flexible labor force has caused an alteration of employment relations in the Philippines. At the center are the regular employees whose number is dwindling as a consequence of adjustment measures. These are the legally adequately protected employees. The second level consists of employees covered by triangular or trilateral arrangements. Compared to the regular employees, these types of workers generally do not enjoy the security of tenure. Methodology. The researcher devised a qualitative method in her study based on gathered evidence, figures, and data from the reliable source, which is the Bureau of Labor and Employment Statistics, DOL. The report showed that the number of subcontractor employment arises from the so-called new employment relationships as globalization takes effect in Philippine economics. I would prefer to do a quantitative method, although what the researcher has done is great. Still, I would like to know if there is a significant relationship between the number of filed cases regarding labor standards against industries and the rapid growth of economic development brought by globalization in our country. Findings. It is interesting to learn that the number of cases filed regarding labor standards had reached 17,596 from the year 1997 and decreased in the number of 2,833 by the year 1999, nearing millennium year. The figure represented that, although by the year 1999, the number of cases newly filed against companies with labor laws issues is still high, it also decreases a lot compared to the number reported from the year 1997. Further research should be done in order for us to know if there is a change in the number of cases pending or filed with issues on labor standard cases. The minimum or no cases filed implies that there are little or no issues at all regarding labor standards or laws being violated by the entities or industries and that our country has a great employment system. Conclusions/recommendations. The researcher states that providing adequate protection to various forms of employment relations in an economic situation characterized by stiff competition where the very survival of the employers is at stake is a difficult task. The task requires a delicate balance between the survival of industries and adequate protection to workers, and that would mean additional cost for industries. If I were to evaluate the conclusion and recommendations, I agree that the researcher suggested that further study should be done by the government to determine the types of jobs being contracted out, the types of employment relations, and the mode of effectively providing adequate protection to workers given their peculiar work situations. Especially that new technologies arise and replace human workers and more employment relations emerge brought by globalization. Employee treatment and work engagement, the Philippines context. By Damian Isabin, Ferlin Bajuarane, Theogenia Magdalens, Mary Joy. Encarnacion, Francisco Alcalde. Submitted on November 26, 2020. Research Gap. The study wanted to determine the correlation between employee treatment and work engagement of the employees of Divine Word colleges in the Ilocos region. The purpose of the study is to find out if employees' treatment concerning justice or workers' right, respect, and caring relationship affects the employees' work engagement of Divine Word colleges in the Ilocos region, Philippines. Methodology. The researchers used the right research methodology and the study used a descriptive correlational research design. The data was gathered through validated research questionnaires, and tabulating and interpreting the data, weighted mean and Pearson R were used. The findings imply that improving employees' performance and engagement is not just about monetary reward and other related incentives, but other factors have to be given attention. Work performance and work engagement are also about workplace treatment. Treatment refers to the way how management behaves or deals with their employees. Fair treatment and unfair treatment can affect the employee's job satisfaction, dissatisfaction, and work engagement, disengagement. Conclusions/recommendations. The conclusion states that there is a correlation between employees' treatment and work engagement, which was based on the previous studies of Lind and Tyler, 1988, Hassan, 2012, Kim and Rubianti, 2011, that employees' treatment correlates with economic success and work engagement. Therefore, the hypothesis of the study is accepted. This suggests that management needs to improve employees' treatment to improve employees' work engagement. In that case, I agree that better work engagement greatly affects and contributes to the success and or failure of the companies or any entities. So, for the achievement of goals, the employer should reassess their workforce implementation in order to facilitate and engage workers in a timely, effective, and efficient manner.